Mama, how I do this? Baby, I don't know.
That's it.
Hear the instructions of the Father. Everybody's not qualified to give you instructions. My old mentor, Pastor Kimball, he told me something I'll never forget. He used to invite me to his house when I first started preaching. He said, come over to my house. I put my Bible in my hand. I get my Sunday school book. I drive over to Pastor Kimball's house. We'll sit out there on the front porch. Pastor Kimball would open up his Bible and he would say, read such and such a scripture. I would read it and he would say, preach me a sermon from it. I would go, well, you see, Pastor Kimball, Solomon was the writer of Proverbs. He said, I asked you who wrote Proverbs. I said, preach me a sermon from the book of Proverbs. Well, he was training me. He was being a father to me. He was trying to help me. It was Pastor Kimball who told me, son, as a preacher, don't you ever walk in a church without at least 3 sermons. I said, Pastor Kim, what you talking about? He said, don't you ever walk into a church without 3 sermons. I said, what you talking about? He said, you need to have a sermon in your Bible, a sermon in your heart, and a sermon in your back pocket. But don't you ever walk in a church without a sermon.
All right.
Said, because you'll never know when you'll have to stand up and preach. I'm glad I had sense enough to listen to Pastor Kimball. Because my grandfather's older brother, Uncle Smokey, had passed away. He picked up the phone and he said, Pastor, they want you in Louisiana to read an Old Testament and a New Testament scripture reading. Because I knew that I was only going to read an Old Testament or New Testament scripture, I picked up my funeral Bible. That's that little pocket-sized Bible. And then I picked up my funeral Bible, jumped into that Buick LeSabre, and made my way to Louisiana to read an Old Testament and a New Testament scripture. But when I got there, the nice little usher came up to me and said, would you like a program? I said, yes, ma'am, I would like a program. And when I got the program, it said Old Testament scripture reading, Pastor Climon Hall. It said New Testament scripture reading, Pastor Climon Hall. It said officiating the funeral, Pastor Climon Hall. It said eulogy, Pastor Climon Hall. I said, oh my Lord, but I had a father who told me, don't you ever show up at a church without at least 3 sermons. My grandfather walked up to me. He said, you got a sermon? I said, which one you want? Do you want the one out my Bible? Do you want the one in my heart? Or do you want the one in my back pocket? But I had a sermon. Because I had sense enough to listen to a father. To hear the instruction of a father. And I don't think I'm going to finish this. I didn't plan on being here this long, but give attention. Solomon uses synonymous parallelism to emphasize why children should listen to their parents. In the B portion of verse number 1, he says, and give attention. To give attention is the same thing as to hear. He wants them to listen. But Daddy, why should I listen to you? He says, so that you may gain understanding. Your parents' advice is what enables you to think clearly.
Amen.
You don't have anything to consider until you have information. You don't have anything to think about until you have information to think about.
Yes.
But you are trying to make decisions with no information. You are trying to make life and death decisions with no parental guidance. You cannot do it. You need information.
Teach.
But parents, you shouldn't let your children struggle trying to make an important decision
Amen.
just because you don't have no information to give them.
Amen.
I asked Pastor Kimball, I said, Pastor Kimball, can I come to you for anything? He said, son, you can come to me for anything. He said, but if I don't know, I guarantee you I can point you in the direction
That's right.
of somebody who does.
That's right.
Y'all looking at me, but y'all really ain't listening to me. It's all right, mama, that you don't know everything. It's all right, daddy, that you don't know everything. It's all right that your child can ask you something that you can't answer every once in a while, but at least you ought to have a pointing finger that can lead them in the direction of somebody who does know what they're looking for. You ought to love them enough to point them in the right direction. Some parents are just as foolish as children.
Amen.
I don't want nobody teaching my son. The boy got basketball skills and you don't have any. How about you put the boy in a basketball camp with somebody who got some skills that can teach the boy some skills where he can make millions of money, millions of dollars, and help you out. You're just as foolish as the child.
That's it.
My sisters will tell you, so will my nieces and nephews. Growing up, they were young and energetic. Called the brother and said, could you babysit kids? I said, yeah, I babysit the kids. I get over there to the house and me and the kids have a good time. They love me to death. I love them too. But Uncle Dooney ain't play with them.
Amen.
Don't play with them today.
Amen.
So they would, first thing they would say, I'm going to call my mom. I hand them the phone.
Amen.
Before a little while, my sister would say, don't you put your hands on my kid. They tell you asking. I said, if you don't want me putting your hands on your kid, you watch your own kid.
Okay. Amen. And when they grew out of that stage, they realized that I loved them kids. I wasn't trying to hurt them kids. I wasn't trying to misuse them kids. I wasn't trying to abuse them kids. I was trying to do the same thing our mother did for us. She led us in the right direction. And when they realized that, they changed their lingo. They stopped saying, don't you put your hands on my kids, and say, I'm going to call Uncle Dooney if y'all don't get yourself together. He said to that, so you can gain understanding. Because the implication is, you ain't got none. Listen to me, because you don't have the understanding that you think you have. Parents' advice gives a child the ability to make a decision. You know what a whooping will do?
Yes, sir.
A whooping will make you think twice about doing what you're thinking about doing. Now, the last time I did that, Mama knocked my head off my shoulders. Now you got something to think about.
You gotta understand it.
There's two ways that you can give a child the ability to discern or to make a decision. You can whoop them with a belt.
Come on now.
Watch me here. You can whoop them with words.
Yes, you can.
Solomon says, listen to me so that you may gain understanding. Solomon is disciplining his children with words, watch me now, before they got into trouble.
That's right.
He's chastising them before they get into trouble. Now you whoop your children get into trouble,
Right.
and they got into trouble because you ain't taught them nothing. Solomon said, now listen to me, so you may gain understanding. When my mother used to drop me off to school, she dropped me off to school, I rode the bus home, but when she dropped me off to school, before I got out the car, she would say, boy, you go in there and act like you got some sense. Now, you might not have no sense, but you better act like you got some sense. So when you went in there and you lost your sense, the reason you got a whooping at home was because she told you before you got out the car to act like you got some sense. And so now, because of that information she provided, when you get inside, you can think about, do I want to act a fool? Or do I want to act like I got some sense? You got something to think about now. But if mama and daddy and whoever your parent is ain't never taught you nothing, you ain't got nothing to think about. And if you do make the right decision, you made it by accident.
Teach that.
You got to receive the information. Lord have mercy. You got to receive the information that your parents provide.
Oh, yes.
But in addition to receiving the information that your parents provide, Solomon says in verse number 2, if you are going to live a life that reflects the righteousness of God, it requires that you remember the information that your parents provide.
That's it.
In a real sense, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't do you any good to receive something that you do not plan on remembering.
Come on.
It doesn't do you any good to listen to what your parent has to say and have no intention on actually doing what they said do.
Come on.
You have to remember it.
Amen.
And verse number 1, Solomon says that righteous living is the result of receiving reflective recommendations from trustworthy parents. But in verse number 2, Solomon says that living a righteous life is a result of remembering the reflective recommendations that your parents provided you with. Solomon says, for I give you sound teaching. Do not abandon my instructions. Watch me now, church. Trustworthy advice or trustworthy truth depends on the credibility of the witness. Trustworthy truth depends on the credibility of the witness. I watch a lot of court shows, and when these court shows come on, the best defense or the best prosecution is those who have credible witnesses. You want somebody in the witness booth who is credible, who people will believe, who people can trust what they are saying. And just as they want this in the courtroom, this is what your child wants as well. They want a parent that they can trust what is coming out of your mouth. They want a credible witness. They want a credible source. If they want to know something about life, if they want to know something about whatever it is they're going through, they can look at you and determine whether or not you are a credible source of information. And if your child determines that you are not a credible source of information, they will not ask you for anything, and rightly so.
That's right.
Solomon says, for I give you sound teaching. Do not abandon my instructions. Notice the personal pronoun in verse number 2. Solomon says, I give you sound teaching. Solomon was a credible source of information. 1 Kings chapter 4, verses 29 through 34 lists Solomon's credentials to be a reliable source of information. 1 Kings chapter 4, the Bible says that Solomon was the wisest man that walked the face of the earth.
Yeah.
People came from all over to hear what Solomon had to say. Solomon used his wisdom to build a beautiful kingdom in the in the nation of Israel. Solomon used his wisdom to do wonderful things for the people of God. And Solomon's children looked at what Solomon was able to do, and they perceived that Solomon was a credible source of information. My question to you is, can your children look at you and see the things that you have done and depend on you as a credible source of information?
Amen.
As Solomon's children looked at him.
Amen.
Can your children look at you and see an example of hard work?
Amen.
Can your children look at you and see an example of dedication and devotion?
Amen.
Can your daughter look at you and see you as the ideal wife to her husband? Can your son look at you and see you as the ideal husband to his wife? Can your child look at you and see what they need to know to ask you about finances or about school or about anything? Are you a credible source of information?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, I give you sound teaching. So if your child views you as a credible source of information, then guess what you get to do as a parent? You get to demand stuff. Bible says, I give you sound teaching. I'm a credible source of information. So because I am a credible source of information, Solomon is about to command something in the B portion of verse number 2. It is this: do not abandon my instruction. I am a credible source of information. Because I am a credible source of information, I'm demanding you not to abandon my instruction. To abandon here just simply means to forget or to disregard. Children, it is foolish to say, Mama don't know what she's talking about. It is foolish to say, Daddy don't know what he's talking about. It is foolish not to remember the instructions that your parents are trying to give you.
Yeah.
There's an example of this in Numbers chapter 20 of the consequence of refusing to remember the instructions of your parent. God instructs Moses to go and smoke the rock to give the children of Israel water out of the rock. Moses is upset with the children of Israel because they have been complaining and talking bad about Moses. So what Moses does is he goes up to the rock and he starts hitting on the rock, and then he calls the people of God a bunch of rebels. And God said, wait a minute now, Moses. All I told you to do was go over there and smoke the rock once. But you didn't got mad and you didn't did something that I told you not to do. So now there are consequences for not doing what I told you to do. And the consequence of not doing what I told you to do is that I'm going to allow you to see the promised land, but you ain't going to go into the promised land. In other words, Moses, all you have to do is remember what I told you to do and do what I told you to do, and everything else would have been all right. But because you started to add stuff to what I told you to do, and because you started taking away stuff that I told you to do, there are consequences for not doing exactly what I told you to do.
Yes, sir.
Children have consequences for not doing what your parents tell you to do.
Show you right.
They told you not to go to the party because they knew who was going to be there.
All right. Yeah.
You decided you was going anyway. And now mama got to come get you out of jail. Now if your mama was anything like my mama, you just go spend the night. When you would go spend the night. I'm done with you now, church. But all I've been trying to tell you in this relatively short time we spent together is that without trusted parents who provide good advice, you do not have what you need to live a life that reflects the righteousness of God. Without godly parents who give you godly advice, you do not have what you need to live a life that reflects the righteousness of God. 18 years before I was born, the Dallas Cowboys won the 1971 Super Bowl under head coach Tom Landry and starting quarterback Roger Staubach. After they won the Super Bowl, a herd of reporters surrounded Roger, and they wanted to know from Roger how did he lead his team to a Super Bowl victory. It was then that Roger looked at the reporters and said, I was able to lead my team to a Super Bowl victory because I learned to follow the recommendations of my coach. You see, Roger was a quarterback who was accustomed to doing what he wanted to do. In fact, he was accustomed to doing the opposite of what the coach told him to do. During the regular season, when the coach told Roger to throw the ball, Roger would take off running. And then when the coach told Roger to run the ball, Roger would step back and throw the ball. And Roger found out that doing what he wanted to do was causing them to lose games. So Roger said, you know what? I'm going to change the way I think, and I'm going to stop doing what Roger wants to do, and I'm going to start doing what Coach Landry wants me to do. And I found out that when I did what Coach told me to do, I end up with a Super Bowl trophy. And that's how I led my team to this Super Bowl win. That's all I'm trying to tell you this morning, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you are going to live a life that reflects the righteousness of God, you have to stop doing what you want to do and start doing what the Bible says do in the 66 books of the Bible that you hold. And parents, any advice you give your child should be directed from that Bible that you hold.
Mighty good.
Solomon tells his son nothing that's not inside the book.
Mighty good.
All the advice that Solomon gives his son is straight from what they would call then the Torah, the Pentateuch.
Yeah.
Every advice you seek to offer your children should come from the Bible.
Amen.
Because you're not trying to make them live to your standard. You're trying to make them live to God's standard.
God's name.
And if they live to God's standard, they will inevitably live up to your standard. God bless you. God keep you.
Amen.